Before we move on any further, we're cutting across live to the Indian Army Chief's press conference. Let's listen in.
Further refine these, based, of course, on the outcome of the investigations. Overall, in line with our operational realities, we have undertaken reorganization and rebalancing of our forces. Reorientation of additional forces to the northern borders has been carried out, while retaining our capability for punitive strikes on the western front. Force restructuring, which is a very important facet for enhanced operational effectiveness and resultant structural optimization through the creation of integrated battle groups, is proceeding well. The IBGization, if I may call it that, of select formations along the western and northern borders will soon come to fruition. In line with our collective efforts towards greater synergy and integration for the establishment of Theatre Command, we on our part are carrying out our deliberations in consultation with the other two services, in line and keeping in mind the timelines which have been given to us by headquarter IDS. We, that is the Indian Army, stand fully committed to jointness and synergy. There has also been a sustained and coordinated effort towards capability enhancement. The crisis on the northern borders gave us an opportunity to fast-track our infrastructure development and undertake doctrinal reviews and make up various operational voids which had been existing through emergency and fast-track procurements. While doing all this, the Indian Army, we are committed to the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, and we have prioritized our procurements so that maximum of this should go to the Indian industry. And at the same time, we are also hand-holding numerous indigenization projects, right from the design and development stage, right to the trials and their induction into the Army. For example, in the current financial year, out of the 20 AONs which were granted, 19 are in the Buy Indian category. We have also taken very significant steps on leveraging artificial intelligence, 5G, quantum technology to gain an edge over our likely adversaries and for better management of forces. The Indian Army's participation, of course, in various peacekeeping operations worldwide has ensured peace in various parts of the world and has helped us as a nation to carve a niche for ourselves in UN affairs. And as of now, we have more than 5,300 personnel deployed in 8 UN missions in various parts of the globe. Side by side, there has also been a lot of considerable, I would say, increase in the defense cooperation activities that we have been undertaking with our friendly foreign countries. And owing to our high standards of training, professional expertise, and the reliable defense technology that we have, more and more foreign countries have shown interest in engaging with us. And when required, we have walked that extra mile to accommodate the requests, especially from our immediate neighbors. We have also undertaken joint HADR exercises to synergize our efforts and resources. We recently concluded the PANEX 21 exercise for BIMSTEC countries in December 2021 at Pune. And earlier last year, in November, we had the exercise Konkan Shakti with the United Kingdom. And both these exercises were against the backdrop of a pandemic scenario. As far as our men are concerned, there has been a concerted effort in the field of human resource management, including meeting the aspirations of women officers. And in order to provide equal opportunities to them, not only have they been granted permanent commission in line with their main counterparts, but they can also aspire to attain higher ranks within the armed forces, and with that shoulder higher responsibilities also. And the permanent commission, grant of permanent commission to the officers of the junior batches, that process is also underway. as are the preparations to induct women cadets into the National Defence Academy from June 2022. As I mentioned earlier, the first batch of women soldiers who we had taken in the Corps of Military Police have not only finished their training, but have also joined their units and are performing exceedingly well. All these are major developments towards women empowerment in the Army. There has also been a special focus on the welfare of our veterans and families, more so at the time of the pandemic. Our outreach programs and campaigns to veterans and Veer Naris, especially those who were in distant parts of the country, far-flung corners, and are reaching out to them, ensured a settlement of a large number of their problems, and we shall continue, of course, to build on these efforts. Towards the end, I would like to acknowledge the support of the media to the Indian Army. You have ventured into challenging areas, often at great risk to your own lives, to bring the narrations and valor and tales of valor and sacrifice of our soldiers to the nation. Your reports from active operational areas have created better awareness among the citizens of our country of the challenges and the threats that we face. And these reports, I dare say, and from the feedback which I have received, have invariably led to a feeling of greater respect for the soldiers in uniform. And it is also an acknowledgement of the role that we, the uniformed fraternity, play in keeping the nation safe and secure. But more than that, as conscience keepers of the nation, you have also highlighted areas where we need greater focus. And these have been part of the constructive feedback that we have received and which every organization requires to grow and become stronger. And for that, we are all very grateful. And the military and the media both have a significant role to play, along with other pillars of the state, in building a strong nation. And towards that end, I look forward to a very strong and continued partnership between the two of us, the media and the military, in the times to come. With that, I will end my opening remarks, and I am now open to questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are extremely grateful to all of you who have logged in, and those among you who have forwarded your questions in advance. We have received questions on varied topics, and therefore, for ease of conduct and assimilation, we will take all the questions pertaining to a particular topic or subject together. I will be reading out the questions and also the names of the journalists who have asked a similar question. Then I will request the Chief of the Army Staff to make his response. Let me move on to the questions now. Manish Prasad of India TV asks, how do you see your 2 years as Chief of the Army Staff? What are your
Can you show me, Manish, there?
What are your top operational as well as administrative priorities for this year?
Okay. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to see whether Mr. Manish Prasad was online so that I could see him while responding. But thank you very much for that question, and it's really 2 years have gone by in a flash, 24 months. When I took over, I was the 28th Chief of the Army, and I had 28 months to go. And already 24 months have gone, and I'm already in the last quarter of my tenure. It's unbelievable how time flies. But yes, the last 2 years have been extremely challenging, not only because of the COVID issue, but also because of the situation on the northern borders. And I dare say that our reaction and response to both these challenges was very robust, and we as an army have acquitted ourselves extremely well.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.